So if you're not familiar with me, I'm Kevin Rutherford, and I first want to thank you for joining us today to learn how to integrate Siemens S7-1500 devices or other devices with embedded OPC UA servers with your Aveva systems such as InTouch, System Platform, Historian, and others using TopServer. So before we step through the process in the live demonstration, for anyone who may not be familiar with TopServer, I do want to just quickly review what TopServer is and how it provides connectivity to the widest range of industrial devices and systems. TopServer is our flagship connectivity solution, providing a single source of connectivity to control data from PLCs, RTUs, and other common automation devices from the widest variety of manufacturers and protocols out there. Now, TopServer is a single application runtime that you can connect to and learn, which reduces your learning curve from one driver to the next and provides a large variety of drivers, including the ability to wrap other legacy DDE servers or OPC servers. There's also access to advanced functionality via plugins, including redundancy, calculation capabilities, and a robust configuration API. You can then deliver that data to your client applications using most standard industry protocols and specifications like OPC and SweetLink, which covers the majority of client connections. So TopServer is going to work with any of your Aveva software applications. We're part of the certification program to ensure that compatibility is there for you and your users for peace of mind. And speaking of that large variety of drivers, TopServer has connectivity drivers for hundreds of devices and protocols, as you can see here. And while we're only using one driver today for connectivity to the S7-1500, many of the same concepts apply to all TopServer drivers. So with that, we want to go ahead and jump to my desktop here, and I'm going to stop sharing my video here so that you can focus on the live demonstration. So I'm just going to minimize my PowerPoint and jump over to my desktop and bring up my TopServer configuration. And in the TopServer configuration window, the first thing I need to do is add a new channel, and that represents the connection to the OPC UA server that's embedded in my S7-1500. So I'm going to click to add a channel. And for the type of channel, I need to select my driver, which is the OPC UA client. So I'm going to go down to my O's, OPC UA client, and I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And for the name of my channel, I'm going to give it a representative name. I'm just going to call it OPC UA. And we're going to click Next. And we're going to click Next here and maintain the defaults until we get to the section for defining my OPC UA server endpoint and security options. So here's the endpoint for my URL, and I happen to know the endpoint of my OPC UA server in my S7-1500, so I'm just going to enter that manually here. 192.168.111.198, and it's on port 4844. And for simplicity, since I am inside a secure network, we're going to be using none for the security, just to get things up and running quickly. Now, for reference, I am connecting to an S7-1500 over a dedicated secure VPN from my office in New York to our test lab, which is where the S7-1500 is located in North Carolina. So once I've defined my endpoint URL and my security policy, I'm going to go ahead and click Next. Maintain the defaults for the timing settings. Again, here we're going to, my OPC UA server in the S7-1500 does allow anonymous authentication, so we're not going to specify our username and password here. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And then we get to our channel summary, where we can review the changes that we've made, which are highlighted in bold. You can see the endpoint and security policy have changed from the defaults, so those are bold. Those are all correct, so I'm going to go ahead and click Finish to complete my channel. And the next step is to add a device to that channel. So I'm going to click to add a device. For simplicity and descriptive purposes, we're just going to call this S7-1500. And the next section here defines the scan mode, which we're going to keep at the default. And we're going to go and click Next. We're going to click next through the defaults for the next several sections, as the defaults are going to work in the majority of use cases until we get to the section for actually importing the items we're interested in. Okay, so here's the select import items, which allows me to access and select the items from my OPC UA server, which is in my S7-1500. So select items. That brings up my OPC UA server endpoint. I can expand that to get down into the hierarchy of the data in my S7-1500. So I want to go to the Lab 1500 folder, expand that. I'm interested in the Data Blocks Global folder. And specifically today, for this example, I'm interested in the natural gas composition. So there's a number of different tags and groupings underneath that particular folder. I'm going to actually select the entire branch and click Add Branches. And you'll see that added everything that was under that particular branch in my heart. Everything is all good there, so I'm going to go ahead and click Finish. And you'll notice the groups and tags are automatically generated from the UA items that we browsed to and selected. And you'll see the tag generation results were successful, and I imported and created 74 tags from my S7-1500 UA server. And if I select that, you can see the tags. You can see the tags that were actually configured. Now, if we go ahead and launch the OPC Quick Client from Top Server, which is the OPC DA Classic Test Client that does install with Top Server, go ahead and click that button to launch there. Go to my folder for the Lab 1500. Now, we can confirm that we're getting good quality and changing values for the items from our S7-1500 controller. And the item for under the butanes grouping for molecular_mass, that's actually the item that I'm going to be using when I configure my InTouch project to connect to Top Server. And you can see the current value on that is 58.12 floating point. So we'll make note of that for when we're configuring InTouch shortly. So before we move over to InTouch, we just need to have a quick look at the project properties in Top Server. So I'm going to go back to my Top Server, go to Project, right-click and select Properties. And I'm particularly interested in the FastDDE SweetLink section. So if we go there, we'll see that FastDDE and SweetLink connections are disabled by default. So I need to go ahead and select Yes there to enable that. And notice the application name, which is the SweetLink application name we'll need to specify in our access name, is by default server_runtime. We're going to use the default, but just be aware you can actually change this if you ever needed to define that as something else to use from your Aveva software systems. And so I'm going to click Apply to make sure that's enabled and click OK. And to make my configuration in InTouch easier, I'm actually going to use the alias map in Top Server to configure a more friendly topic name that we can use when we're configuring our access name. So I'm going to go to Aliases, right-click, and select New Alias. The name is what we'll actually use as the topic name in InTouch. So for simplicity, to represent the piece of information that I'm going to be accessing, I'm going to call that butane data. And then we need to map this alias to the actual channel device and group where the tag is located. So if I go to the Mapped To section, it allows me to view the hierarchy of tags. So I'm interested in the butanes group under natural gas composition. So I'm going to select that and click OK. And you'll see it defined that Mapped To. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK there. And you'll see my new alias was created. So that's all the configuration I need to do in Top Server. So I'm going to jump over to my InTouch project. And I do already have a project with a sample window open. So the first thing I want to do is add a simple text label that indicates what the value from the controller is. So I'm just going to add some simple text here, butane molecular mass, which is the value that I'm going to be displaying here. And underneath that label, then I just want to add a basic text display that's going to be used to receive the item value from that item in our S7-1500 controller and display it on my InTouch screen. So I'm going to add another text display here. And then I just need to double click on that text to edit its properties. And we're going to make this an analog type value display. So I'll tick the box there and click the button. And for the expression, we'll just enter our tag name from top server, which is going to be molecular_mass. I want to set the formatting on that to real. After clicking OK, we're going to have to define our tag. So I'm going to click OK to that, and that needs to be a type IO real. So I'm going to select IO real and click OK. And because we used the tag name from top server for our expression, we can tick the use tag name as item name here. And then we need to assign an access name. So I'm going to click the access name button. We need to add a new access name. I'm just going to call that top server. We can skip the node name because top server and InTouch are on the same machine. So for application name, we're going to enter that application name that we just saw, server_runtime. And for the topic, we're going to enter that alias that we created, butane data. And everything else can stay at the default. So we're going to go ahead and click OK to apply those changes. We can close the access names. And we just need to save our tags. So I'm going to click Save, Close, OK, and OK. And at this point, we'll go ahead and save our project. I do want to save the changes to that window. And at this point, well, we can go ahead and go to Runtime so that our window viewer will open up. So I'm going to click Runtime. And as you can see, we can confirm that the value we're seeing here, if I bring up my quick client, you can see that value also matches. If I go over here, and we can see that value changes also come through, and that matches up with what's in the OPC quick client as well. So that's a basic example of making a connection to an S7-1500 controller via OPC UA using top server. So now that we've stepped through that connectivity, let me bring my PowerPoint back up. And I just have a few more points to cover on how to get more information about top server before we take any of your questions. So as you can see here, a few places to find out more information. We also have information in our booth available to find out more about top server. You can visit our website here, as well as our technical blog and a library of detailed how-to videos specific to the topic we've just covered. You can see here at the bottom left a blog post specifically on connecting top server to S7-1500 controllers via OPC UA, which does have some additional details we didn't have time to cover today regarding accessing the configuration in the S7-1500 using TIA portal with respect to the OPC UA endpoints, security, and making data items available through that interface that you're interested in accessing in this fashion. A free, fully functional trial version of top server is available for pre-sales, proof of concept testing, just to ensure that everything will work as desired. And once everything's working to your satisfaction and giving you everything that you need, you can always work with factory software to purchase licenses for top server.